Yolanda, good morning.
Good morning.
Suli, good to see you on here.
Good morning.
And we're joined by Esther and Anna as well. Hey, I like the Christmas background, Suli. That's a good one.
Thank
And
you.
Yolanda's got a nice office. That's good. Max, you got to get with the program, man. Yeah, and oops,
Don't read my
didn't mean
sticky
to do
notes.
that. Yeah, the thing that allows you to do that is the green screen behind me. So, but let's go back to the cliff some more. Was in Ireland almost a year ago. And a beautiful, beautiful place. Oh, well, that's not why we're here to talk about Ireland or what have you. Okay, so I know some of you are newer agents. Suli, I know you just passed your test a couple of weeks ago because you went through the CA Realty Training crash course that I taught. So I knew that.
That's right.
What? Yeah. Max, Yolanda, Anna, Esther, are y'all newer or just new to KW? What's the story?
For me, I'm 2 months new into the world of real estate with KW, and I took the training through California Realty as well, which is a wonderful program.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right on. Did you take my crash course as well?
No, I had it with what is this, Medina? I took the crash course with
Okay.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Good
Ian.
deal. Max, how long? Yeah. How long you been doing real estate, Max?
Yeah, since October.
Since October. Okay. Right on. Anna. We don't know. Esther, how long you been doing it?
Since October.
Since October. Okay. So most of you are all pretty new to the industry and probably scared to death about what you're going to do and how you're going to get business, right? Yeah, exactly. So that's why you're taking these Ignite sessions. We're focused today on building your value or delivering your value proposition. You know, what is it that you have to give to the market of value that they would choose to work with you. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Bob. It says Robert. I go by Bob. I've been doing real estate for about 18, 19 years now, most of it in Northern California. Moved down here about a year and a half ago and started doing business building a database of business down here. My first year in this market, it took me 10 months to cap. And my restart date is August, and I've capped in 4 months since being down here a year and a half. So it is possible to build a business, and how we do that is the key. So let me get the thingamajig up. Oh, let's go with share screen. I know how to use Zoom. I really do, folks. Share screen. There we go. All right, here is our presentation. We're going to go animations, no slideshow from beginning. All right, y'all can see that, correct? Say yes.
Yep.
Or say no. Okay,
Yes.
good deal. And by the way, if it is possible where you're located to be unmuted and interact, because I am going to ask a lot of questions. This is not going to be all me spewing at you. That's the worst thing in the world. I want you to be engaged, interactive. So if it's possible for you to be unmuted where you're at, fantastic. If there's little ones screaming in the background, which can happen, that's a reality these days, or noises or what have you going on, yeah, then please feel free to mute. However, if you can stay unmuted, that's awesome. I have a challenge with the things that I've got going on and delivering information, what have you, to look at chat. So putting something in the chat box is not the most effective way to communicate with me. So just letting you know that. All right. So if you can pop up and ask a question, interrupt me, say, hey, hold on, Bob, wait a minute. That's completely okay. But yeah, so I've been doing this business for a couple of years, and have a few ideas about how to get that done and make that happen. So, how many of you are you all working from home at this point?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Okay. So one person is.
Nope. I'm at work.
Who is? Who said they're at the office?
Swilly?
Suli, you're at the office?
Not your office, my office.
Your office.
I work for the Housing
Okay.
Authority.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. You work for the Housing Authority, so you might know some people in housing.
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay, right on. Okay, let's see. All right. So this is your sixth session. How many of you have attended the other 5 sessions?
I have.
Max has. Yolanda?
I have.
Okay. Awesome. So tell me what value or what has stood out or what's something that you've heard that you went, yeah, that's something I can put to use. That's something I can do. That's something I can deliver.
Something that rings to mind out of all of what I've been in is that database, and really making sure that you have good leads inside your database. So that's what I've been working on and building, and it's it's been a long haul with putting the information in, but I'm pleased with what I have so far.
Awesome. And Yolanda, remind me to touch on that topic here real quickly. An easy solution for you to build that database, and it is tedious, and it is painful, and it is I hate it, and it's vital to building a business. So excellent that you're doing that, and excellent that you started out doing that, because I didn't get that until 10, 12 years into the business, and I wasted a lot of time and business because I didn't have that thing built. So good job. Anyone else? What else have you heard, or what else has resonated with you that is something you can take with you and actually implement?
Oh, just like goal setting, how many appointments you want to go on a week, and getting that number and really sticking to that number and looking at that every.
Awesome. Now, Max, and great. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Max, can you control how many appointments you set each week?
In a way.
And it's okay. The answer is no.
Okay.
Because you never know who you're going to get on the other end of the phone. You never know who you're going to talk to. You never know if someone's going to have a need. And it's a great idea to set a goal for, I want to set X number of appointments each week. That's a fantastic goal. What is the one thing you can control, however?
How many calls you make?
How many calls you make, and more importantly, just because you make a call, do they always answer? So what's the important end of that piece?
Getting an email?
An email exchange is the same thing. A text exchange is the same thing. A conversation with someone who answers the phone is this same thing. It's called a contact. So yeah, you can make a lot of calls, and I use the Mojo dialer, and I'll make 200, 300 dials a day, and I'll talk to 20 people out of those 200 to 300 dials. So while, making calls is important, it's vital, and you can control the number of calls you make, and you can also control the number of contacts you make, because you can keep making those dials, you can keep making those calls until you make those contacts. So yes, that's excellent. And I would encourage you all to focus on the number of contacts that you're going to make each day. make that a priority. Whatever that number is for you, with whatever time constraints, maybe you're working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, what have you, maybe you're doing this part-time, you can still have a number of contacts that you're going to choose to make each day. And what's that number going to be? For me, it's 20, 100 contacts a week. And in the old bold class that we used to do, we'd have a bold challenge, a bold 100, where we'd make 100 contacts in a day. And after you do that, 20 a day is no problem at all. However, maybe with your schedule, it's 5 or it's 10. I know in Ignite it says, hey, make 10 contacts a day or add 10 people to your database a day, whatever that is. Whatever that number can be for you, make that commitment each day to make that number of contacts. Now, building that database that Yolanda mentioned, here's a little trick that you can do, folks. All of you have one of these, right?
Yes.
Yep. And in it, you have these things that are called contacts. All right. And for me, I think there's 4,000 or 5,000 records in here. All right. What you can do is, I know you can do it with an iPhone. Don't know if you can do it with a Samsung. Is download an app that will convert your contacts into an Excel spreadsheet, or what we call a flat file, or a CSV file. And to help you begin building your database, and I wish this technology existed way back in the day when I started, you can download all of your contacts on your phone onto a flat file and then begin building out the information on that flat file. So more than likely, you're going to have a name, a phone number, and hey, Nicole Romero. Hey, Nicole, welcome. You're going to have a name. You're likely going to have a name, a phone number, maybe an email address. But you're just going to have very, very basic information. But now you've got this flat file. You add physical address to it, and you go in and you call everybody on there and just let them know, I'm building out my database for my business and want to be of service to you. I don't have your email address. What is it? What's your physical address? And begin building that flat file with name, address, email address, phone number, and best phone numbers. And once you have several hundred of those on a flat file, you can upload that into Command or whatever database system you're going to use. And now you have a database that you can market to, communicate with, put on touch programs, and that will ultimately deliver business or value to you as you deliver value to them. Because everybody that's on here, you probably know them, right?
Yes.
The vast majority of them, you know almost everybody, and they know you. And that's a database. So that's a little trick for you if you've not done that already. Yolanda, how did you start building your database? You mentioned you've already begun doing it. How did you start doing it?
Yeah, I started inside of my phone and actually just started putting it in myself. I know there's other easier ways to do it, but I physically just, you know, it's something about, it's my business and I want to be hands on. And so I just put everything in there.
Yep.
And then I had a stack of business cards from going to different functions and getting other people's business cards that I even had a conversation with, or I used their service. And I said, hey, you know what? Let me go through my business cards and add those people in too. And so I did some tags. I love the tags. So I tagged them as business cards so I can remember, hey, I got your business card. This is what we talked about. The interesting thing is that I was starting to remember the conversations and how I met them. And that was helpful. So when I'm doing the call, I can kind of jog their memory. Hey, we met at, you know, at the conference, or we met at a party, and I have your card. Just want to let you know I'm in business. So yeah, so I did that too, and that put me about 170, and I still have more. So I feel good with that. At least it may not be the most starting out, but at least I have some context in there.
That's a fantastic start, Yolanda. That 170 or so records in your database to start your a month or two into the business, that's fantastic. I commend you for doing that. That's awesome. The other thing that you did is, do you have them in command?
Yes, they're all in command.
Okay. So in the notes there in command, you've put in there, we had this conversation.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was.
Yes.
Or what have you. And they said this, or their timing was this, that, or the other thing. The thing that will impress the heck out of people is if 6 months from now, you call them and say, hey, we spoke 6 months ago and we talked about this. And you mentioned this, and you said you were going to do this, or this was going to happen, or you were thinking about blah, 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 or whatever. I've had so many people tell me, wow, you're really good. I can't believe you remembered that. Oh, wow, you followed up when you said you would. Oh, wow, you remembered to call me. Wow, you're really good at staying in touch. And what that does is it conveys trustworthiness.
Okay.
It conveys to them, this is a person that will do what they say they're going to do. And is that what people want to work with?
Yes.
And the answer is yes. So, yeah, let's all take a lesson from Yolanda and build that database, start entering those records into command or whatever your database system is that's going to allow you to stay in touch with them and make the notes. And because that's really at the crux of this business. Those of you that have, if you've ever heard about me or seen me, you know that I love making cold calls. I'll call expireds. I'll call for sale by owners. I'll call absentee owners. I'll make circle calls. I'll call anybody and everybody. I don't have any fear of that whatsoever. And your database is going to be always is going to be the most effective source of business for you, period. Okay, good deal. All right. Are there any challenges that any of you are encountering that we can work on to help you out? And you all are having challenges, so don't lie.
For me, it's just making those contacts with people over the phone. You know, getting past when someone just says, "Oh, you know, I don't need any help in real estate right now. Thank you. Bye."
Max, yeah, thank you, Max, for sharing that. What kind of calls are you making?
Just basically circle prospecting. Yesterday was around properties that had sold recently.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Where'd you learn to do that?
Who told me? This one guy who I met.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Those are called circle calls. Actually, Mike Ferry developed those about 100 years ago. And it's, hey, we just sold a home in your neighborhood. We know that 2 other homes are going to come on the market after they went and sells. Who do you know that might be thinking about selling? Basically, is the script. Or we just sold a home in your neighborhood and we still have buyers looking for a home. Who do you know that might be thinking about selling? What about your situation? What would cause you to sell? If you were to ever consider selling, when would that be? These are all those open-ended questions that I ask on that type of call. And here's the reality, Max. You have to make 100 to 200 of those calls, contacts, to get one piece of business. That's a reality. So when people say, I'm not doing anything right now, that's okay. You're going to hear that. And if you make enough of those contacts, if you make enough of those calls, you're going to run into somebody that goes, oh, it's funny that you called. We were just talking about that. But you have to do that consistently and do it over and over again repeatedly before you'll ever get to any business. So, yeah. Max, are you using a dialer?
No.
Oh, my God. You're doing it by hand?
Yeah. I know. I think I called 30 people yesterday in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then I was being so stupid. I was looking at Google Maps, typing in their address, and then putting in address around there on the MLS to see what houses on the map were around there.
Bob, what's
So-
a dialer?
Yeah, Sue Lee, that's a good question. I was going to ask you the same thing. What is
What's
a
that?
dialer? What is a dialer?
Oh, a dialer. Yeah. Let me, well, okay, a dialing system, the one that I use is called Mojo, M-O-J-O, mojosellingSolutions.com. I've actually been using it for 12, 13, 14 years. It's my main tool for finding business. Now, with what Max is doing, he's getting a list of records that have phone numbers and addresses and names, and he's printed it out and he's manually dialing these and calling them to see who do you know that might be thinking about buying or selling or investing in real estate that I can call today. By the way, write this question down, because this is what you want coming out of your mouth to at least 20 times a day to human beings that you're talking with. This is the most important question. Who do you know that is thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate that I can call today? Yeah,
Bob,
everybody get that?
Yes.
I get the selling and buying, but the investing, what do we do with that?
I'm sorry?
With the investing,
Yeah.
what do we do with that?
If they want to buy an investment property, we help them buy an investment property.
Is that considered commercial?
No. Okay, if somebody buys a single family dwelling and rents it out, is that an investment?
Yes.
Or if somebody buys a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex, that's residential real estate. If it's less than 5 units, it's residential. So, yeah. And if you want to, you can throw out invest. Anything up to 4 units is residential. Yes, Nicole, that is correct. So it's just simply, what you're asking is an open-ended question. Who do you know that's thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate that I can call today? You never, ever, 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 ever want to ask, do you know? Because the answer to do you know is no. The answer to who do you know is they have to go, let me think about that. See the difference?
Yes.
Good. Thanks, Yolanda. Yolanda sees it. And you will find I spend a lot of time on scripts and dialogues. They're vital. They're essential to this business. And in fact, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So let's see. Yep. And Nicole, just a warning. I during my teaching or what have you, I tend not to look at them because it just distracts me. So you're welcome if you've got something to add to jump in and interject. So, all right, there we go. All right, moving on. Let's look at what successful agents do every day. And we've been talking about this. They do 2 things. They grow their business and they run their business. All right. And again, Max, thanks for being open to sharing challenges that you're having. One thing that we do each day to grow our business is to lead generate for buyers and sellers. Now, this one right here. If you've read The One Thing by Gary Keller, he talks about the 80-20 principle, the Pareto principle, where 80% of the value that we do, or 80% of the results that we get in this business come from 20% of the things that we do. And one of that 20% is to lead generate, like Max is doing, making circle calls. By the way, Max, that's one of the toughest calls to make. So you coming out of the gate making tough calls, good for you. Calling your database and asking who they know is a lot easier, by the way.
That scares me more, talking to people that I kind of know.
Dude, you're speaking my language. Yeah, I fall into the same trap. And the very first time I took Bold, they said, oh, you're going to call your database, call people that you know, and you're going to ask them this question. And I was scared to death. Like, oh my God, I'm going to be hitting on people I know, and they're going to think terrible thoughts about me that I'm asking them for business. Here's the thing I found. When I ran through the script and when I got to who do you know that's thinking about buying, selling, or investing that I can call today, every one of them, every one of those people who know, like, and trust you will stop and think. And they'll go, well, can I send you an email with the names? Can I text you with the names? Can I call you in an hour after I've thought of somebody? It blew my mind. And I had been in the business 7, 8, 9 years already. And I've learned, wow, people who know, like, and trust me do want to help me. And they want to help you too. So I encourage you to get over that fear of calling your database, because they do want to help you. Just like if somebody that you know reached out to you, hey, can you help me with whatever it is? Can you take me to the airport? Can you help me move on Saturday? Can you help me lift this refrigerator? You would go and help them. They want to do the same thing for you. They just need to be reminded of that. All right. So growing your business, lead generating for buyers and sellers. That is the most important job you have every single day. And that's why when you look at my calendar, Monday through Friday from 8 to 11:30, I have blocked out lead generation. That's holy sacred ground. Now I'm violating that right now because I'm teaching this class. And I'll make that time up later on this afternoon. I'll make the calls this afternoon instead of this morning. So whenever it is, the one thing that I would have you all do, this isn't related to the topic that we're discussing today about delivering your value proposition. This is a vital thing for your business. On your calendar, block out the times that you will lead generate. Again, for me, it's 8 to 11:30. That's when I choose to do it. People often ask me, and I teach a class called Dialing for Dollars. I've been making calls for many, 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 many years. People ask me, when is the best time to call? The answer is yes. There is no best time to call. There's no ideal time when everybody picks up the phone. You call when you have the time, if you're working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, whatever, and when you have your highest level of energy. For me, it's in the morning. Afternoon, I'm kind of done. But some people, afternoon, they're great. Some people, the evening, they're great. Whatever it is for you, that's the time you should set aside, block out time to lead generate and make calls. Make sense?
You call people from 8 to 9? That's not too early? Nobody, nope. We don't get mad? Okay.
Nope. Oh, Max, I know there are some agents I know that will call expireds at 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I don't. I know ones that start at 7:30, 7:30. Yep. They claim that, hey, if they're going to answer the phone, nobody else has picked up. And if you're calling today's expireds, by 9 o'clock, they're not answering the phone anymore because they've already been slammed by a whole bunch of other real estate agents. So, yeah, 8 to 9 that's not a problem at all. And if it's too early for them, they'll tell you. So, and again, if you're not comfortable doing that, that's okay. Do 9 to 12. 9 to 11, whatever it is, whatever time frame is going to allow you to make your contacts, set that out. That number one there is the most important thing that you can do. And you all have to figure out what is your main way that you're going to lead generate. Make outbound calls, make outbound contacts. And with COVID, can you go door knocking? No. Can you do open houses?
No.
Not really. There's people skirting the edges of that right now. They've been doing that for a few months. However, picking up the phone and calling people is a great way to do that. And again, I think I diverged off of the dialer. Mojo Selling Solutions, okay, is the tool that I use. Max gets a list. I'm able to upload that list into the dialer, and then the dialer makes those calls for me, 3 phone numbers at a time. And it just dials through there until somebody picks up, and then I'm off on my script. And then when I'm done with that call, I dispose of it, and it goes on to the next. And it just keeps going, just keeps dialing. And if calling is a way you're going to find business, really encourage you to look at Mojo. And if you do want to look at Mojo, please send me an email, because then I'll send them an email, and then they'll pay me a referral fee. And it doesn't cost you anything. So if you want to know, in fact, I'll put my email in the chat right now, the chat that I don't use. And that was weird. Huh. Well, and if you need help with scripts and dialogues, I know a couple. All right, lead generate for business. Another thing we do is make seller listing presentations and get listings. We go out to list a home. My wife and I were out Tuesday night. We got commitment from that seller to list with us. Making buyer presentations and get buyer listings. Understand that a buyer is a listing too, if we get them to sign some kind of an agreement that they're going to work with us. And I encourage you all to do that, because a buyer is looking at Zillow and Redfin and Trulia and some other agent's website in addition to yours for the stuff you're sending them in MLS. And when they see a house, if they've not been educated or instructed that, by the way, you're working with me now, then they're going to call that other agent and go buy a house with them. It's happened to me, folks. Have a buyer consult with your buyer, CITO, come into the office, or Zoom. Let's have a Zoom call or a FaceTime call or a Skype call or a whatever, and we're going to have a conversation about how I'm going to help you buy your home, and you're committing to work with me. Because if you don't do that, they could go run off and buy a house with somebody else, and all that work you've done is for naught. Okay, and then it says here to preview real estate. Can we really go out and preview real estate at this point?
No.
No, we really can't. So someday we might be able to. However, that one's kind of off the list for right now. And then in running our business that we do every day, market our seller listings. What are we doing to, get the word out about the houses that we have for sale to possible buyers? We're going to show buyers houses. We're going to make seller listing presentations. We already did that. Negotiate contracts, transaction management to closing. By the way, hire a TC. Don't do that junk yourself. Vendor management, who are the home inspectors we work with, so forth. Setting goals, Yolanda or Max, you mentioned setting goals. Compliance risk management, attend training and get coaching, which you all are doing now, and managing your money. This is what we do to run our business, right?
Bob, I have a question.
I have an answer.
So I hear a lot so far about making sure you get the appointment, regardless if it's buying, selling, leasing, or investing. Just get the appointment. So what does that look like now with COVID? Does get the appointment mean let's go into the office, come meet me in the office, or does it mean let's get the appointment on Zoom?
I got great news for you, Yolanda. That has actually made closing an appointment easier. Because here's the thing. You get somebody on the phone, maybe it's a cold call, maybe you barely know them. And if you ask them, can we meet at 2:15 tomorrow? What might they say?
No.
If you ask them, would you prefer an in-person meeting or would Zoom be better? What will they say?
The Zoom. Zoom will be better.
Great. So let's meet at 2:15 tomorrow on Zoom, and I'll send you the link.
Awesome. Awesome.
All right. It's a backhanded way. It's an either or close, and it's a backhanded way of getting an appointment because they don't know they're falling into it. You're asking them, what do you prefer, in person or Zoom?
That's good.
And when they tell you one or the other, they've just said, I will meet with you.
Okay.
Okay. I used to get at that with another closing line that I have just because I want to do my business Monday through Friday during the day. Mornings are not available. So I would always ask, are you available in the afternoons or are nights and weekends better? Because I wanted them to focus on the afternoon because that's when I wanted to have the appointment. However, I would do a night or weekend if I had to. And it's the same kind of thing. They're not agreeing to meet with you. They're telling you what time works best for them. And by telling you that, they've agreed to meet with you.
Got you.
See how that works?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yep. So yes, a Zoom meeting is an appointment, or a Zoom appointment is an appointment. Because that's the reality of the environment that we have.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for bringing that up. That's awesome. All right. Let's go on to what we're talking about today is defining our value or our value proposition. This is kind of the roadmap of what we're going to cover. Building daily success habits. We're just going to mention this. We're not going to actually take time to do these activities, but those activities are building your database, practicing your scripts, and then lead generating. How many of you at this point have a role play script partner? Raise your hand.
I do.
We got 1, 2, Yolanda and Max. Anybody else? Nicole does.
I do.
Who was that?
Anna.
All right, good job. I will tell you, I have 3 role play partners right now. 7:30 on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning. And I've been doing scripts for years and years and years and years and years. And I still have role play partners. So if you don't have a role play partner, get one, find one. If you're getting coaching through Sonia, she'll have access to someone that can help you out. The better you are at your scripts, the better you're going to be at delivering them and giving value to people. All of you are scared to death that someone's going to ask you a question that you cannot answer, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Yolanda. And you're all scared to death of being asked, how many houses have you sold?
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Understand that if you fear that question, if there's a question that you fear, or a statement that they're going to make that you fear that they're going to make, you are attracting that question, and it will get asked. No one ever asks me how many houses I've sold, even though I'm brand new to this market, been here a year and a half. I don't get asked how many houses have you sold. And it's because I'm able to deliver my scripts and my dialogues with confidence and assurance. And that's more important to people than how many houses you've sold. Is that you're confident, poised, in control. That conveys across to them, and that's what matters. The one thing you can do is focus more on them, ask them great questions, and they will assume you are capable. If you're asking them great questions about how you can accomplish the goals that they're attempting to meet, to achieve, then they're just going to assume you know what you're doing. The more you focus on them and less on yourself, the better it is. By the way, those of you that fear, how many houses have you sold? How many houses did the South Bay market close in November? 30, 40, 50? You can find that number out. Simon will know it. Okay? So if somebody asks you, how many houses have you sold? You can say, that's the great news. Our team closed 50 houses last month. Now, let's get back to you and what you need. And now that you have an answer to that question, you no longer have to fear it, and you will no longer attract it to yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So now you have an answer to that question. And if they ever ask you a question you don't know the answer, hey, that house over a block away, what did that sell for? Hey, that's a great question. I can look that up for you. What's important about that for you? You can always respond with, that's a great question. I can definitely find that out. What's important about that to you? And you've just flipped it around. Okay. So that's all on scripts. All right. That's building your business. Okay, here we go. Here's a blank page. Staring into the blank void of white. All right, here we go. Your value. A value proposition, simple, precise description of the benefits the customer will get from working with you, should clearly convey all the things that you do to earn the fee you charge. Your value proposition is a covenant between you and the customer. And how will having prepared your value proposition help you move from leads to contracts to close? That's an open question to all y'all. By the way, how will having prepared your value proposition help you move from leads to contracts to close?
It'll give you more confidence to be ready for anything that's going to come your way that much more. And whatever you don't, you'll still be confident to say, I'm not sure. Let me look into that, use my resources to look into that to move us forward.
That's great. Thank you, Nicole. So yeah, it'll give you confidence. What else will understanding your value proposition, how will that help you get business and close business?
It keeps you in mind that you are a valuable person because you have resources, and because you have a rich database or rich context of getting that, and the buyer, the seller doesn't have that, then you know that, yep, okay, I'm really bringing that value because you don't have access. I have access to what you don't have, and it will be more stressful for them as a buyer and seller. They wouldn't even know where to go. I mean, they would be like crying, scratching their head, like, I don't know where to start. And we know where to start.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a resource. You know the process, you know what to do, and you can convey that to them. Understand, and I don't want to get too woo-woo on you. However, your energy of how you feel about yourself, and if you feel that you bring value and you can convey that you bring value and you know what your value is that you can bring, that will come across to the buyer, the seller, the client that you're working with. They will pick that up. They will sense that. They will feel that. So that's why understanding your value proposition is very important. And let's be really, really clear about something. No one wants to hear us talk about us. No one. Have you ever had somebody that just keeps talking about themselves and how great they are and what they do, and how quickly did you want to get away from them? Exactly. So while we will create a value proposition for ourselves, I would say it's more important that you understand it for yourself. And you can also give what we call an elevator pitch. Hey, here's the value that I bring. I've got a great deal of experience in real estate. I've got a great deal of experience in negotiating contracts and getting buyers and sellers the best deal. And I'm also honest, trustworthy, hardworking, and persistent. And I will make sure we get this done for you. Okay, that's my elevator pitch value proposition. All right. And what I just said, except for the experience part, the rest of you can say that because you're honest and you're forthright and you're persistent and you'll get the job done. If you don't think you're persistent, you were able to pass that stupid real estate state test exam, right? That takes some persistence. That takes some dedication. You've gotten to where you are in life because of your persistence, okay? All right. 3 aspects of service. When Gary Keller was researching the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, by the way, how many of you know about the MREA, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book?
Yeah.
How many of you have read it?
I have it now. I'm reading it.
About halfway into.
Okay, good. It's the Bible on how to do real estate. And then once you're done with that, you have to read Shift because it updates it for a different, how the market has changed. When he was researching the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, he noted that every top producing agent he spoke with had a deep and almost inherent sense of service. You cannot grow a real estate business if you don't prioritize your client's experience above all else. A stellar experience is how you earn your commission and get referrals. So we've identified 3 aspects of service: knowing the underlying purpose of real estate, a compelling value proposition, and fiduciary. Together, these 3 aspects guarantee that your client will have the best possible real estate experience. So there's the 3 aspects of service: purpose, value proposition, fiduciary. What is the underlying purpose of real estate? Anybody know? And it's different for buyers and sellers.
The purpose for the, I'm just going at it. The purpose for the buyer is to get a home at a reasonable price point. And the purpose of the seller is to make sure they get the most value out of their property, the most that they can get for the sale.
That's excellent, Yolanda. Thank you for taking a shot at that. And you've got a component of each of those. For a buyer, it's finding them the right home at the best price in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of problems. For a seller, it's about netting the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of problems. So for both of them, it's shortest amount of time, least amount of headaches or problems. For buyers, it's finding the best house at the best price. For sellers, it's netting them the most money. And in each of those, it's about shortest amount of time with least amount of problems. Okay? And what happens to your client's buying or selling experience if you don't understand that this is the underlying purpose of real estate? And that's an open question to everybody. What happens to your client's buying or selling experience if you don't understand that this is the underlying purpose of real estate?
Then they won't have a stellar experience. Their experience will be sour, and they're going on Yelp and everywhere else to talk about that horrible experience that they had with you. And they'll let all their friends know how horrible, how tacky and horrible you don't communicate back. And believe me, they'll do it.
Yep. Understand, folks, with the technology, social media platforms, Zillow, Yelp, whatever, if somebody has a bad experience with you, they can get that word out pretty quickly and easily. And then it's tough to overcome that. But by understanding that what they want is for us to solve their problem with the least amount of problems is key. When you get into a real estate transaction, folks, I view it as a train going down the tracks. And my job is to keep the train on those tracks. And stuff's going to happen in any real estate transaction where it's going to try and derail. It's going to try and get knocked off. It's going to try and jump the track. And you just do your best to keep that on the track. And understand, sometimes it's going to derail. Sometimes they're going to blow up. That's going to happen. And if your client sees and knows that you're doing the best that you possibly can for them, then even though it blows up, they're still going to like you, work with you, trust you, refer you. Okay? All right. Have any of you been involved in a real estate transaction yet? And Nicole, you can't answer that one because I know you have.
No, I have not. However, I did help a friend who said that she was ready. She thought she was ready. So I sent her off to a lender, and she spoke with the lender, and she has to work on credit. So she's going to work on that, first time home buyer. So that was a yay. At least she has me in mind, top of mind, to help her with her first purchase of her property. And so that's good. And then just the other day, I had someone else, I came to their mind, and she sold her property with another realtor. And now she wants me to help with the buying because she has no idea where she's going, but she wants to lease first for a year. And then she said she wants me to help her with the buying part.
Great. So that first person that you mentioned, you helped them with a problem. What was their problem?
Finding if she can be pre-qualified. What can she qualify for? And to find out first, we got to fix the credit.
What can she qualify for? Yeah. And the other person, what problem are you helping them with?
I need a place to stay after I sell my property. I don't know where I'm going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in today's market, the client that we picked up earlier this week, they're selling their condo in Long Beach and they want to buy a house. Is there a lot of houses out there on the market right now?
No.
So their problem is, I don't want to be homeless.
Yeah.
We can sell their place in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And we find them something else. So we're taking steps to make sure we can find them something else.
No stress.
Before we start marketing their house.
Yeah.
Make it the least stressful, least amount of problems.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Awesome. Thanks, Yolanda. Appreciate that. Okay, value proposition distills your service offerings into a succinct set of benefits for your client. It states that what you do for your client to earn the commission and helps you explain the complexity of what you do. It also helps hold you accountable to high standards. That's the one great thing about a value proposition is, hey, if I say I'm going to be this person, then I better be that person. If I say this is what I'm about, then I better be about that. What do you see as the value of your value proposition, and why is it important enough to be included in the three aspects of service? And that's an open-ended question.
Can you repeat that?
Kind of covered it a little bit. What do you see as the value of your value proposition? Or do you see the value proposition as an important thing to have?
Yes, I do see the value proposition of my value in the whole transaction from beginning to end to closing as valuable to help my client on the other end because it's like hand hold, not well for the buyer, hand holding them, but I'm very supportive. I'm very more of that counseling approach to it, keeping them informed of what's going on and not just leaving them hanging, wondering like, oh, where did she go? So my thing is just really making sure that I communicate with them every step of the way, even if nothing is happening and it's just kind of quiet, just to check on them and say, hey, how's it going?
Yep, absolutely. So having that value, understanding your value proposition keeps you accountable to it and lets you know what you're worth and what you bring to the transaction or to the service that you're providing. Okay. And we usually have a loose understanding of how we provide our clients with value. It's easy to forget that they might understand very little of that value, and your value proposition is what you bring to the experience. Your value proposition statement phrases your skills, expertise, insights in language that makes them relevant to your client. An example they give here is that, let's say you're fluent in English and Spanish or English in another language. You may be tempted to just simply say I'm bilingual. That's true, but doesn't really convey your value. Another way of stating it is I have access to a large pool of potential buyers for your home who are often overlooked by other agents. That means I can speak to Spanish people, Mandarin, Cantonese, Korean, whatever, in addition to English people, and communicate the value of your property to them as well. To see how that kind of alters how we position ourselves or what we position ourselves. And by the way, on that question of expertise, how many of you have over a year of real estate experience under your belt as a real estate agent? How many of you have several years of being of service in business or community on any level? Yeah. You all did something prior to this. You all delivered service and value and expertise with something prior to this. So whatever that service, expertise, value that you delivered previously, you just get to now pick that up and throw it on top of real estate. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Got it. And now functionary versus fiduciary. Have you heard these terms before?
Yeah, on that exam.
That's right. Fiduciary is both an adjective and a noun. As an adjective, it refers to something dealing with trust, especially relationship. You have a fiduciary duty to your clients to protect their best interests during what will likely be the largest and most frightening transaction in their life. As a noun, fiduciary refers to a person who has a fiduciary obligation. You are your client's fiduciary. Let me pull up something here, if I can. I'm going to have to escape out of that. And let me show you this. This is actually in the MREA. Do you see that right now? Fiduciary versus functionary? Say yes or no.
I don't see it.
No, I don't see it.
Okay, here, let me pull it up. I got it. Screen 2. There we go. Now you should see it.
Yes.
See that difference
Yes.
between functionary and fiduciary?
Yes.
This is in, and you may have already, those of you that are reading the MREA, the Real Estate Agent, you may have already seen this. You know, functionary is low level, low relationship, little responsibility, low skills, yada, yada, yada. Fiduciary is high level, high relationship, accepts responsibility, masters high skills. Obviously, as a fiduciary, we have a higher level standard that we're held to. So this is a great one to find in the MREA. I encourage you all to take a look at this. We won't dig through everything here now, but here's the important one. Functionary is minimally paid. Fiduciary is highly paid because we're held to a higher standard. Capiche?
Capiche.
Say yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
See.
All right.
Yes.
Let's let's get back in here and from current slide. All right. So you can all see functionary versus fiduciary, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Thank you. Now, knowing and stating your value. Check the time. We've got about another little less than an hour. We'll see if I can get through it all. Okay. Now we're going to talk about your value proposition. We're going to look at some market data around what clients want. We're going to get a bigger picture and look at the current real estate market, and we'll discuss some ways that technology can boost your market value. We're not going to get into the technology piece, so ignore that statement I just said. Reflecting on your value before, and you all have the participants guide?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. What, and in there you get a look at or complete some work to determine what your value proposition is. But before we do that, we're going to look at page 5 of that. All right. And I want you to take 5 minutes, open your books to page 5 and fill that out. And I'm going to do that again. Here we go. Stop share. Where'd it go? There we go. All right. Let me get to page 5. This is entertaining negotiating this stuff, folks. Let me tell you. Hey, Yana. Good to see you.
Hi, Bob. Good to see you. Thank you.
You bet. Okay. You can all see, consider the 3 aspects of service, purpose, value proposition, and fiduciary. How are these aspects already present in your relationship with your clients? And how could you improve your service based on your understanding of these 3 aspects? So I want you all to just take a few minutes, 5 minutes or so, and reflecting on purpose, why we do this, what's important to our buyer and seller, the value proposition that we bring, and the fiduciary responsibility. How are these things already present in your relationship with your client, or how are they already present in you? And how could you improve your service based on your understanding of these 3? So go ahead and do that. And yes, I'm going to ask one of you to share some of the things you put down. Couple more minutes. Max, you write anything down?
Yep.
All right, what you got?
So I think really hammering into your head the desire to help people really is something to really improve upon. Because once you get rid of the commission breath, get rid of the fact that you want to make money, you have that I want to help people, then people are going to see that, and that's how you're going to make more money. And then just understanding the process, even just scripts just teach you so much about the process, and just having it all run smooth. Yeah.
Oh, Max, one thing you said I love that I want to restate. You said get rid of commission breath, and if your focus is really to service people, to help people, and that's the forefront, they will see that. People can smell commission breath, and they can also smell that your real purpose is to help them and do what's best for them. That's gold. That's right on the money. So that's awesome that you're at that. Oh, I don't know. And I don't know that you're at that place. And if that's the place you're going to, you're going the right direction. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else have something that they wrote down about this section right here?
I'll share. So when I think about my clients, what I really think about, this exercise helped me think about, well, what do you do with your friends, Yolanda? And I think about my friends, I want to always add value to my friends. And so people who are my friends, I add value, I pour into them. And I want to see them win. And so we have that in common, is the fact that they want to win. I want to cheerlead them on to win, whatever that goal is. And then my goal is also to be the person on the other end to keep being the support for them. So even when it's good times or bad times, that I'm still there. So I want to apply what I give to my friends is what I give to my clients. And that's my belief. Yeah.
That's excellent. Do you want your client to be your friend?
I don't want them to be my friend, but I want them to understand. They actually could become friends from a trend. I mean, it could actually turn that way and be that way, but they need to feel valuable. Like I'm a valued person. I'm listening to you. I'm not hogging up the conversation. Tell me what you need. Tell me what are your concerns. Tell me what's going on and how I can help you get there. So by nature, I am a counselor. So I have my master's degree in counseling. So that's the thing that keeps coming up for me. So the counseling piece will always come up. Yeah, that will always come up. I live and breathe that. So yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I would suggest you don't get into this business to make friends.
Right.
Get into it to help your clients and sometimes they end up being friends.
They do.
We helped a family this year sell their mobile home and then purchase a single family dwelling, and they just ended up being the most wonderful people, the most gracious people, and we ended up being friends. They invited us over for dinner at their house, at the house we helped them purchase, because they wanted to repay with the gratitude. And they're just so we've made friends, and that hasn't happened to me a great deal throughout my real estate career. I do help friends. Friends ask me to with their real estate things, so that does happen. However, that's not the purpose. And your point of, just like you want to give value to your friends, you want to give value to your clients.
Exactly.
So thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that. I'm going to jump off of the PowerPoint a little bit because I like the information in your participants guide better. And that is this right here. If you have it, you can open up to it, or you can see it on the screen here, of what buyers want. The National Association of Realtors probably every year does research. This data is from 2018. They ask buyers what they want, and 52% of them said, I want the agent to help me find the right home to purchase and negotiate terms of the sale, help with price negotiations, determine what comparable homes are selling for, help with paperwork, determine how much, see how quickly these things drop off. These things that we fear, gosh, I don't know the contract that well. That's 6%. That's stuff you can learn. Help find and arrange financing. Well, we got to do that, but that's not in a buyer's mind. That's not the most important thing. Determining how much a buyer can afford. That's really a lender activity. So the point is that some of the things that you fear, you don't have knowledge of. You don't even have to worry about, because that's not what's important to a buyer. What buyers value, which is a little bit different question, is that an agent is honest and trustworthy. That's the most important thing. And with absolutely zero real estate experience, do you meet that criteria?
Yes.
Yeah. The thing that buyers value the most, without 1 minute in real estate, you already have, if you are honest and trustworthy. Okay? Now, agent experience does come in next. Now, here's the great news. Here at the Keller Williams office, are there other agents that have more experience than you?
Yes.
Will they be willing to help you?
I would hope so, yes.
Well, okay. I know a guy who's been in the business about 18, 19 years that's in the office that is willing to help you. So keep that in mind. Reputation of the agent. Do you have a reputation at this moment as a real estate professional?
No, but we do have our own personal reputation of what people say about us.
Exactly. And I saw Nicole's head shaking yes when I first asked that, and she was correct. You do have a reputation. It may not be related to real estate. However, it is related to what you've already done in your working life career. Okay? It's a family friend or a neighbor. Well, that's not always going to happen. Agent has knowledge of the neighborhood. Now, some of these things that we think are important, accessible because of use of technology like a smartphone, association with a particular firm, 2%. People really don't care about that, all right? So from looking at this, what is one thing that you can take from this or use on this, or basically what's an aha for you in looking at this?
For me, Bob, if you can go back to the previous slide.
Yeah.
Okay, so what
buyers
really,
want?
yeah, what's the aha for me that really stands out is help find the right home to purchase, which is 52%, right? And then help with the paperwork at 6%. So when I see those two numbers, I start laughing because the buyer's not asking, hey, do you know how to fill out paperwork? Like they could care less about you knowing how to correctly fill the paperwork, but can you help me find that right home?
Yep. Awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Yolanda.
You're
Anybody else that jumps out at them after looking at this? Okay. So, and the important thing that I wanted to convey with this is that this thing of what they value, you already have, provided you're honest and trustworthy. And you do have a reputation already. And this is saying our reputation precedes us. So, yeah, just be aware of that. Okay, let's get now into, let's see, where are we at? 11:22. Where, when you get the opportunity, take some time to fill this out. What skills do you have that align with what buyers want? What characteristics or habits do you have that align with what buyers value? And in your group, well, select a few of your answers from the above and rephrase. We're not going to do that. All right. What sellers want? We were just talking about buyers. Now it's what sellers. Help seller market home to potential buyers, 20%. Help price home competitively, 20%. Help sell the home within a specific time frame, 19%. Help find a buyer for the home. Help seller find ways to fix up home to sell it. Okay. Here's one thing that I see agents get hung up on. Help create and post videos to provide tour of home, 1%. That amazing video that you're going to put up about how, and I see agents doing this all the time, that's not significantly high value to the seller. All right. Help with paperwork, again, only 4%. And
wouldn't you say that would change a little bit?
What's that?
Wouldn't you say that would change a little bit now because of COVID?
A person could say that. A person could say that, and quite frankly, most people, in my experiences, I've been out listing homes and showing homes. Most people are willing to show their home, to have people come through to do whatever they need to do to sell it. There's a small percentage that, hey, you got to make an offer subject to inspection, or you've got to seen the virtual tour first, or what have you. Now, are virtual tours important? Are videos important? Are they a great additional aspect of marketing the home? Sure, absolutely. And let's get real. How many? What's the distribution going to be like on those video tours? If I post on Facebook a video tour, how many people are going to look at it? And how many of them are actually going to be buyers that are interested in looking at the property? Not many. So now I'm not telling you, oh, don't bother with that. Absolutely. Professional pictures, video tour. Yes, do all of that. Just understand, in the eyes of the seller, that's not as great a value. Well, that's not what they want. And what sellers value, 31%, is the reputation of the agent. And then down below that is agent and honest and trustworthy, which this one you've already got. Reputation as an agent, you don't necessarily have, and you have a reputation. Agent's knowledge of a neighborhood. I run into agents that are concerned, wow, I really don't know that market, or I don't know that neighborhood, or I don't know that specific blocks of homes, and that's okay.
We have data for that.
Yes, thank you, Nicole. Nicole has data for that. If you need to know something about a neighborhood, you can find that out. You know, have you ever seen on a sign, area specialist? On a for sale sign, it says area specialist. You know what it takes to become an area specialist?
I have no idea.
You go to the SBA or office, buy that rider, and put it on your sign. That's all it takes. And you get data.
Life, yeah, in real life, it just takes access to data and having your resources, knowing when to use them, trusting yourself. And we all have this.
Yep, exactly. You can find all of that out. It's totally okay. All right. All right. We can't break into partners in small groups, so we are going to pass on that. I'm looking ahead over here at this. Ooh, that's a good one. I want to show you this slide. So we're going to stop share and all right, folks, who are your competitors? Real estate has undergone significant changes in the past few years. Investors have come in with the intent to disrupt the industry, and they have. iBuyers are driving down commission prices. Some companies are moving towards eliminating the agent altogether. Zillow. So who are your local competitors? And who are competing for your clients and your commission? Who's doing that?
Other realtors.
Other realtors, yeah. By the way, you cannot throw a rock anywhere in the South Bay without hitting another realtor. Nicole, you know.
Yeah.
You run into all of them.
Yeah, and the internet too. I mean, the iBuyers, they're coming from different dimensions, different angles.
Yeah, let me show you a case in point. I don't know what you're looking at your screen right now, but let me pull this up.
Who are your competitors is coming up with your slides.
Okay, you still see that one? All right, let me pull this up. See if it does. Okay, here we go. The Zillow.
We see you.
Okay.
We see you too, Sully.
Yeah. All right, here's Zillow. Actually just sold this. I helped a buyer purchase this house for $866. And what does Zillow have right here?
Get a Zillow offer.
Mm-hmm. Zillow saying, I'm going to purchase your house for cash. No agent involved.
Marketing right off of your sale. They're just saying, by the way, they're just saying it right there, bigger than your news.
My news is bigger than your news. There you go. Exactly. So there's an example, folks, of a competitor that we have right now. Okay. Someone mentioned, maybe it was Yolanda or Suli, other agents are your competitors. Okay. Now, of the iBuyers or the people that are reducing their Redfin is one that, hey, we'll list it for 4%. And there's other agencies industries, organizations that are attempting to reduce commissions. What is their value proposition?
No hassle.
What's that?
No hassle. Easy.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Allegedly easier, no hassle. All right. What else is their value proposition?
They're going to lie and say that something's worth more. I mean, sometimes they just have misinformation and they pull people that way. And then, of course, you know, it can be a different situation, but I don't know.
Cheaper.
There it is. What's their value proposition?
Mula.
Pay less commission.
Less commission.
Do it for less. We'll do it cheaper. We'll do it for less. Save money. So how do you counter their value proposition?
Providing excellent service.
Excellent. What else?
Being insightful, just being hands-on, you know, asking questions, being more specialized to what they're really truly looking for. And just providing, just providing more options, more things that are just more specialized and on the money for them.
More knowledge.
Knowledge. Absolutely. Let me ask you this. If you're paying less dollar value, what do you receive?
Less service.
Yes.
Less service, less value. So how do we compete with that?
Provide more service and value.
Bingo. Provide more service and value. Absolutely, you got it. So yeah, just be aware that those entities are out there, and you're going to get by the way, would you like to know how to handle the Redfin, we'll do it for 4% objection? Because you're going to run into it. Do you want me to give you that one?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Okay, so Max, I want you to tell me, and this is a role play. Are you willing to role play with me, Max?
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to tell me that, hey, Redfin's going to do it for 4%.
Hey, Redfin's going to do it for 4%.
I appreciate that, Max. And you want to net the most money you possibly can selling your home, correct?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and you also want to get it sold fairly quickly at a good price and without any headaches, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fantastic. Redfin agents, do you know how they are compensated?
No. How?
They're paid a salary. And I believe they get a little bit of bonus or commission when they sell something or close something. So really a Redfin agent's job, listing agent, is to get a listing agreement signed. Okay. And then move on to the next, and the next, and the next. Do you know when I get paid, Max?
When?
When I sell your house for the most money, the best terms, and in the time frame that you want. So in your mind, who will be more motivated to get your home sold?
You.
Exactly. Sign here, press hard. So that's how you handle the Redfin one. And by the way, folks, with that Zillow stuff and the iBuyer stuff, they are actually charging 6 to 7% to sell your house. And I can promise you that if, Zillow says we'll buy your house, if you click on, the value may say $866,000 up there, that's not what Zillow's going to offer you. So I would tell you, if you're working with a seller, that says, hey, Zillow says it's worth this, and you see that you can get a Zillow offer, I would tell them, click on that. See what Zillow is going to give you. See what the Zillow will pay you for your house. Absolutely. Go take that step and see what that looks like. And I can promise you it'll be lower than the Zestimate. So there you go. So don't fear that. Oop, my headset's going to go off. Okay. I heard it beeping at me. So I want to share screen. Let's get back in here. Right. Okay, so there we are. Oops, that's it. All right, we're gonna diverge on that technology thing. I went to in your book there. It shows a website you can go to. I didn't get much value out of that. Anyway, you can take a look at it, see what you can find there. Okay, in the participants guide, pages 12 to 13, you do all have that in front of you, correct?
No.
You don't have that. You should have that. Or you should have that. If you need to, you can get that from Holland. I'm looking at pages 12. Let me put this up here then. And thank you for being patient with me having to flip back and forth through things. All right. Craft your value proposition. Mind map. It says to review your answers to today's activities on those pages. We did some of those, not all of those. And then on the page below, brainstorm on what you want to include in your value proposition statement. Services that you provide, skills that you possess, your character, what else do you have, what experiences, life lessons, and what have you, knowledge that you currently possess or you can build upon by going to Nicole and asking her for data in the market.
Resources, period. I would be one of them.
Yep. There you go. Yes. Nicole can be one of them. Nicole, you are with which title company?
I work with Pacific Coast Title.
Pacific Coast Title. There you go. By the way, a good title rep is a great resource to have because they can get you a lot of data, a lot of information, a lot of resources and they know a lot of people, and they can be a good resource for you. So I'd encourage you to
Thank you.
Reach out to Nicole.
And others too. It's important. I think it's important for people to understand it's good to have more than one too, you know. Don't think that because you talk to me, you can't talk to somebody else. It's great to have a few different perspectives of what can be done. You know, another title rep might be able to strike you into a whole new lead generation just off of what your two conversations might be, off of their exposure to some things that have happened, and your questions might be different, take you down a different road than my conversation with you. So with all due respect, please talk to a few of us, talk to as many as you have time for, that you don't lose track of your own self.
There you go. Yep, exactly. And they can, yeah, the title reps down here I have found are able to deliver more value than they were able to in Northern California. So they're a great resource. All right, so what I want you to do, as best as you can, take 3 to 5 minutes to write down a value proposition in here. Again, here's, just do your best. Take a crack at it. And it's, because this is not an end all be all. You're not going to write the perfect value proposition right now. It's going to take a couple of iterations, like a mission statement or what have you. Go ahead and write something down now that is your value proposition. I'll do the same thing. And if you're having trouble, folks, the way I structured mine was to say, I'll just read your mind real quick. I bring my 30 plus years of sales experience, knowledge, and persistence to every client. So I started with, here's what I have, and ensure that each client will receive the best value in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of problems. And that goes back to what sellers and buyers value most, or what they want most from us is, sellers want to net the most, buyers want the best house at the best price in a short time frame with the least amount of problems. So if you want to kind of craft that in there, you can, but go ahead and get back to it. Max, you got your value proposition ready to go?
Yep.
Let's hear it.
All right. If you want an agent who is trustworthy, honest, hardworking, and persistent, call me. If you want an agent who is approachable, knowledgeable, and timely, call me. If you want to maximize your real estate needs, choose the right agent. That's right, spelled with
That sounds like a marketing pitch.
Okay.
and it contains the right language of what your value proposition is. And what I would say is just take those, get rid of the if you want a so forth, or if you want a call me, if you want to call me, take the here's what I bring to my clients.
Okay.
And basically kind of list those things. And then that's, in essence, your value proposition. So that right on, though. Good job. Anybody else have theirs done? And it's got to be someone other than Yolanda, because she always shares.
I'm happy to go.
All right, go for it.
Okay. By utilizing my network, resources, and 18 years of real estate industry experience, I enjoy helping real estate professionals, buyers, and sellers procure and close the most real estate transactions with the least amount of work and liability possible.
There you go. So Nicole was able to give you her pitch as to why you should work with her. So that was genius, Nicole.
Thank you. I mean, it's really what it is. So I was able to just write it out.
Exactly. And it helps bring clarity to what it is you want to do and deliver to your clients. And your clients are us.
Right. And your clients past that even still, it includes everybody, really.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyone else? I want one more person to tell me what they wrote down, no matter how bad it is. I'm not going to judge you. Well, yes, I am. However, I won't make fun of you. Well, I might. However, just go ahead and do it anyway.
So I have, when you work with me, you can be assured that I will work on your property at all times and will not allow it to get left behind on any part of the showings, negotiation, contract, and closing. My biggest goal is for you to be happy with my services at the end of this process and for us to continue building our relationship.
Esther, I love that last part of it. Is dead on. The front part, from my opinion, the front a few sentences are maybe a little too specific to the real estate industry, and you're mentioning some things that other agents do that are bad. Forget about your house. Don't do the showings, whatever, or what have you. And so I don't know that you need to include all that, or I would find a way to state that in a more condensed way. I'm going to ensure that your property gets shown and marketed, delivered to the market as most effectively as possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome, and good job, and thank you for being vulnerable and open to share that. All right, anybody else? Want the wrath of Bob? Okay, good deal. Let's move on then to delivering value. A value proposition isn't something you say, it's something you deliver on. Now that you're able to explain your value proposition, how do you apply it? What kinds of knowledge are you expected to have? And by the way, Nicole has helped with that already. And what kind of knowledge would truly set you apart from the competition? And you can feel free to answer. Can you hear me all right, by the way? My headset was dying, so I had to take that off. Okay, good deal. What kind of knowledge are you expected to have as a real estate professional?
Just the area, the price point, where to find out the network as far as the services, people who can help with the staging, people who can help with the title, the loans, and all the stuff. The schools, what kind of school, all the stuff.
Know about the schools, have stagers, know what's going on in the market. Is all of that relatively easy to find?
Yes.
If you need to know the value of a house, how difficult is that to find?
Easy with your resources.
And what's one of the main resources that we use to determine the value of a house or find houses?
MLS.
You can become an area expert in about 10 minutes by simply looking up active, under contract, pending, closed homes in a market, and it takes you all of a few minutes in our MLS system to figure out and see what's going on. And in fact, there's a great resource I want to show you if I escape out of here. Did I stop sharing? Oh my God, Jill Van Dusen's calling me. How funny. Haven't talked to her in a while. Someone from Northern California. All right, let's go Matrix, log in. Oh, look at that, I was doing a search. You may not have heard of this resource yet. This one is really valuable. Oh, geez Louise. Let's see if I can get logged into our MLS. You all have seen this already, right? Say yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, logging into our MLS system. See this thing called InfoSparks? How many of you know about that?
Yes.
No.
I know you do, Nicole. That's what you do. InfoSparks is extremely valuable, folks, because it tells you what's going on. The average sales price in all of our MLSs is $867,000. The months of supply right now is 2. Days on market, average days on market is 27. Percentage of last list price. Homes are selling at 100% in all of our markets. But let's look at Torrance where we are. Homes are selling at 101%. Oh, that's the median. 101, almost 102%. Months of supply is at 1.5. Y'all know what months of supply means, by the way?
How many homes are selling in that month?
What it means is, at the rate homes are selling, if no new homes come on the market, we will be out of inventory in a month and a half. So what type of market is that?
Sellers market.
In fact, the industry determines that 6 months of supply is a neutral market. Neither the buyer nor seller have the advantage. I want you to look at something here. Over 5 years, the highest we've ever gotten in Torrance is 2.5 months of supply. Over 5 years, have we seen anything other than a seller's market? No, we have not. And the average days on market in Torrance right now is 17. All right. The thing now, do you all now know a whole lot more about the Torrance market than you did 2 minutes ago?
Yes.
And do you all now have actual valid data that you can share with a buyer or a seller like that?
Yes.
So if you're having a buyer consult, you can tell the buyer, hey, here's the reality. Homes are selling at 101% of their list price. So if we see something for sale, you're not going to get it for below list. In fact, you may have to go over the list price in order to get it. And here's the data on that. And you can tell a seller, hey, if we price your house at market value, it's going to sell in 17 days, and it's probably going to sell for more than what we listed for. And here's the data right here. And that is right at your fingertips. And you all just became Torrance area specialists. And it took how long?
Less than 5 minutes.
Exactly. It's knowing what data you need to know and being able to go find that data. And that's some of it right there. All right, we are 2 minutes away from 12 o'clock when this is going to end. There's several more slides. There's more information in your booklet. Work on that value proposition on your own. And what's the most important job that you have every single day?
Lead generate.
Generate lead.
Yep. Thank you, Max. That's correct. What questions, challenges, or what didn't I cover that I can answer for you?
I have a quick question about you
Yes,
talked
sir.
about a kind of justification for the buyers. Since we are the KW, we are working with KW, we are a member of the KW. In comparison with iBuyers or other agents, is it possible to just briefly say to explain that what is the those justification, what is the KW's competitive advantages in comparison with the others, and motivate the others to sell with us?
Yeah, Amir, thank you for that question. Why people should sell with us has little to do with Keller Williams and more to do with us. Now, Keller Williams does have technology and is distributing our listings internationally. We have international sites. The Keller Williams marketing materials say we publish your house to more websites than any other place. The reality is if they go in MLS, they're getting distributed everywhere. Okay. The other value, though, that Keller Williams brings is that Keller Williams consistently has been either number one or number two training company in the world, or at least internationally. Training Magazine publishes the top training companies every year. Keller Williams has been up there multiple years. So what you can tell a seller is that our company spends more money, time, effort on making sure our agents are capable, competent, well-trained, and will do the best job possible for you. Does that answer your question?
Right. In not just KW, as an agent, when we are going to describe for them that working with me is better than working with other person, with the other agents or other companies like Zillow, like like Century 21. What competitive advantages we have, because I didn't ask about the comparison between KW and other. Mainly about the agent, that we are describing to the buyers that we could better have a service. What value we bring for them exactly, that they choose us as an agent.
Okay, Keller Williams' stance has always been they don't spend dollars marketing Keller Williams, because for Keller Williams, the agent is the brand. Coldwell Banker, C21, Remax, they all spend dollars marketing their brand name. Keller Williams spends money providing training to their agents and believe the agent is the brand name. And at the end of the day, I think we saw in some of that data, 2% of people cared what company they were with. Sellers, buyers. People really don't care if it's KWC21, Coldwell, Remax. What they care about is the agent that's helping them.
Right, thank you.
You bet. All right, anything else? It's 12:02. We are 2 minutes over our scheduled time, and I want to honor your time. Anybody else have anything else they want to ask on whatever topic? Nicole, no?
No, just
All
thank
right.
you. Thank you. Great info.
Thanks for showing up, Nicole. Remember, she's with Pacific Coast?
Pacific Coast Title. And
Pacific Coast Title.
I come from Land America Commonwealth in Northern California before too, so it's staying in the family.
There you go. All right, everyone. Hope you got value today. What's one thing you're all going to do today before the end of the day? What is it you're going to do? Not lead generate. You're going to put what on your calendar? Come on. What's going on your calendar today?
I don't know.
You might not have been on the call at that point, Nicole. Max, you were. Yolanda, you were. Suli, you were.
A lot of time for calling.
Yes, thank you, Suli. That is correct. You're going to put on your calendar your lead generation times, when they are. Again, mine's Monday through Friday, 8 to 11:30. For you, it could be something different. And that's okay. Just put it on your calendar and remember that is sacred and holy ground. All right, folks?
Yep.
Alrighty. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Go House.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.
Ask it.